Society tells boys, particularly, that they need to be like this certain tough guy. And so somehow their emotions are just shut down at a really young age, and they're just given like a bunch of really intense and aggressive toys. And you just kind of like almost like lose access to the sensitivity in their heart.
Welcome to the Fresh Start Family Show. I'm your host, Wendy Snyder, powerful parenting educator and family life coach. And together we are going on a journey to help you expand your heart, learn new tools, and strengthen your family so you can build the family legacy of your dreams. I'm a mama too turned child and family advocate who went from being extremely stressed out back when my strong-willed little girl was a toddler to now thriving as a parent and having the honor to support thousands of families each year who choose to go from frazzled and impatient to peaceful and empowered. Each week, we will dive in with experts, thought leaders, authors, and advocates with insights to help you thrive in your parenting walk, as well as in your marriage and even in your career and faith walk too. Together, sometimes alone, sometimes with my better half and co-host Terry, we'll explore the triumphs and trials we all face as parents and share practical tools to fill our hearts, minds, and souls with inspiration. Take a deep breath and get ready to be poured into with some fresh start inspiration. Let's do this. Well, hey there, families, and welcome to a new episode of the Fresh Start Family Show. I'm your host, Wendy Snyder, powerful positive parenting educator and family life coach. And I am thrilled to introduce you today to Miss Heidi Rojas, who is talking to us about music hacks for powerful parenting. She is a first-generation Latina mama of two, empowerment pop artist, and hit songwriter based in Los Angeles, California. She's just a few hours north of me here in San Diego. She co-wrote two UK #1 singles, Little Mix's first single, Wings, and Cheryl Cole's single, Crazy Stupid Love, among many other notable releases by Dove Cameron, Pitbull, Sam Felt, and Alan Stone, to name a few. So she's a big deal in the music industry, but she is also a songwriting and artist development coach with students from around the world. And she's just a thought leader, I believe, in the space of really using music for many different things, joy, obviously, purpose, but now we're adding emotional regulation to the plate of ways that you can use music to enrich your life. And so I am so excited for you to listen to this episode. If you enjoy it, please screenshot, post on social. I'm at Fresh Start Wendy, and just let me know why you loved this episode, if it touched your heart, and make sure you are following Heidi over on Instagram because she is just one of those like really fun people to have in your feed. I'm so excited for you to listen. So without further ado, help me welcome Heidi to the show and enjoy this episode. Welcome to the show, Heidi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yay. I am so excited to hang out with you for the next hour because you're amazing for a million different reasons, but you're also just so much fun. I feel like we're kindred spirits. You're very fun.
Thank you. I'm just out here just having fun, with no agenda whatsoever other than to just like get my sillies out because these kids they're lovely, but they're also like wild and crazy and draining and all of those. So I just need to have like my time to just do what makes me feel alive. And it's always been music. So here I am.
So cool. I just ended a podcast episode where he said the funniest term. He said, our kids are like chaos wrapped in skin. And I was like, that is so funny and so true sometimes, especially when they're little, right?
Yep. You
have littles, is that right? Are yours really little right now?
Oh, yes, they are. They're 3 and 5.
Oh, such a great age. Mine are almost 3 years apart. I found this work when Stella was 4. No. Yeah, Stella was 4 and my little guy had just been born. She was maybe 3.5. So mine are about 3 years apart. But that is a precious stage of life. And it also is very, very tiring. So
yeah,
I can't wait to talk more about this. Heidi, your work is so inspirational and moving. And of course, the way I found you is like how many people have found you when that beautiful lullaby or anthem that you created For Your Little Boy went viral, and I found you and was just instantly moved to tears. Listeners, this beautiful lullaby that I'm going to actually sing, if you're okay with that later. I've got to like warm up to this conversation, but we'll get there. Is the catchiest, most beautiful love letter that Heidi wrote to her little boy, I believe after he had some really bad separation anxiety at preschool one day, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just related so much because the song is beautiful. You're the most talented songwriter and singer. But my little guy, so my daughter is my strong-willed one. She's really the reason why I got into this work and did a full 180 in our parenting walk and learned how to do things differently and broke all the cycles. But then my little guy, he's so different. He's the opposite of the strong-willed. He's more very tender, and he struggles with a little anxiety here and there. And he had the worst separation anxiety for years. He used to climb the chain link fence in kindergarten and just be screaming as we walked, drove away. And I was like, man, I wish I would have had this song because I would have sang this to him at night. But now I'm just my mind's going crazy with how much my community can use music and singing in self-regulation and nervous system settling and emotional literacy work that they're doing in their home. So before we get into all of that, Heidi, would you tell us your story? How did you get to where you are today? What your journey looked like? Why are you so passionate about having such a strong voice in the world that you're in?
Gosh, well, thank you. Yes, So I'm a first-generation Latina. I'm very proud to be born of Guatemalan and Cuban immigrants, and I was raised in the Chicago suburbs, and then I moved out to LA 15 years ago by way of Baylor University in Texas, and then Nashville for a couple of years. And I was an artist. I wanted to share my music, but I hadn't really experienced very much as far as unpacking my childhood or healing or, getting to know really who I was. Even dating, I was just very green. So I moved here and 10 years ago, I started therapy and really getting to know myself. And then motherhood really puts a mirror up against you and forces, a lot of self-reflection. At least for me, I was just okay, who do I want to be now? This is no joke. I actually am responsible for other human beings who did not ask to be here. And I owe to them to, be the best version of myself. And and so kicked it into high gear 5 years ago when I became a mom to my daughter, Luna. And so, but through the last 15 years, always music being at the forefront of my passions, I started writing for other artists. And that was really fun. I had a couple of number ones in the UK. Everything that you listen that I released, you'll hear that empowerment thread was always in there. I always wanted to create positive music. And so then, you cut to last year, I started writing. So now I should say actually 2022, because last year is now 2023. So 2022, I started writing these songs, and they were about, my experience being a bicultural Latina in the United States, kind of always feeling like I wasn't Latina enough, or I wasn't white enough. I was just always kind of, and so that was a song that I wrote. And then I wrote this, I went to a mama retreat that my beautiful friend put together, all these amazing women. And we were all we're kind of starting to get back to ourselves after some of us, it had been a couple months, a couple years. Some of us, it was 12 years into motherhood that we were finally starting to feel like we were a 2.0 version of who we used to be. And just the self-doubt and the feeling guilty, there was just so much that we were battling in those conversations that I was just we need to own our power. We need to recognize we deserve to be into, these, we're women. We're portals of life. So I went into her bathroom and I wrote Madre Creator, this mom anthem for all of us, this, Spanglish little anthem for all of us to really embody everything that we really are. And then, the lullaby. Yeah. So my son was having a lot of big feelings, and I wrote this lullaby to help him kind of walk through. It was really just that first verse. And I sang it with my kids for 7-8 months. before ever sharing it on socials, just on a spur of the moment, because he had separation anxiety and I picked him up early from school. And so we had that moment next to his crib. And so I just like, he had already fallen asleep. And I was like, I want to hold on to this day, this moment. So I just recorded it for myself, kept it on my phone for a few weeks, and there it was. And so I shared it. And so the Feeling song is one of a series of lullabies I've written for my son. So all of how did I get here is just like, I love music and I really followed that passion through. But life has brought a creative resurgence. My children have brought a creative resurgence for me, where I know who I am now and I know what my message is. And so to empower women and families with music, with songs that we can sing. And I'm a true believer that like the words from a song, they float in the room. They carry a lot of weight and they take on a life.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll kind of float into our ears and out, but sometimes they settle and they stay. And they can be negative words, they can be positive words, but they have power. And so if I'm going to, see that as like waves, as like energy, as like, frequencies that are in the atmosphere, whether we, choose them or not, like I want to make sure that I choose, songs that are affirmations, that are positive, that are going to build me up, that are going to help me create the life that I want. And as a millennial mom, I, these artists like Dua Lipa and Olivia Rodrigo and Billie Eilish, they're amazing, right? But they're also like, I could be their moms. And they're singing about stuff I can't relate to because I'm in a happy marriage. I have a mortgage payment and like, childhood trauma that predates their existence. So I'm like, I think I need some lyrics that I relate to. So I started writing songs that I want to listen to, with words that make me feel like I'm moving toward the life that I want. And so, and the person that I want to be. So that's kind of how I got here. I threw a few videos up end of 2022. I started releasing songs last year and found an amazing community rather quickly. And I'm so honored to be, just on this ride, wherever the songs take me.
So cool. And so you're in LA now, right?
I am, yeah.
Which is like the music hub, right? It's like New York, LA, and Nashville. Is that right? For music?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And so nowadays, so your mom to these beautiful two kiddos, you said 3 and 5, right? 3 and 6?
Yeah, okay. 3 and 5.
And you're actively writing like your own music and lullabies and anthems, what is that first one you mentioned called Mama? What'd you call it?
Oh yes, Madre Creator.
Madre Creator. I don't know the lyrics yet, but I grabbed the lyrics for the other one, but the beat is in my soul though. Like I can just feel it. It's so good. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes, you guys, so you can go listen to that one too. But it's amazing. So you've done all this, and now like every day, are you still writing for some like musicians, or are you just doing your own thing now to create, like, are you creating a little album, or are you just doing motherhood with all of this integrated? Like, what does your day-to-day look like nowadays?
Yeah, it's kind of all of the above. I mean, I'm writing for others more in the artist development, like as a coach. So I work with artists from all over the world who are really trying to do essentially what I'm doing, is just put themselves out there, be the most authentic version, like artists. And so I help write songs, I help give feedback, I help figure out, what your voice is and how you want to, find your community and all that fun stuff. So it's really more, I used to write with artists on labels and trying to get the first single and trying to, it was like a music industry grind, and I'm not doing that anymore. I really just want to like help. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago with no internet. I had no resources outside of who we can find at church, right? So I would have loved to meet somebody like me who had, technique secrets and just insights that are really valuable and that kind of help you cut through the years and years and years that it can take. So I like to be a resource, kind of my finger on the pulse of what's going on in the music industry, and just help to, make it a little bit easier in navigating a very crazy industry. So that's, and then, motherhood, and then how I can fit this creative, at first it was just this like passion and hobby, but 2024, I'm really manifesting this becoming like a real, like, I feel like I'm Heidi Rojas and I have something to say and I have so many more songs. I have so many more songs, Wendy. And
There you
I genuinely feel like each song is a movement. It's not just like a good song. It's like Mari Creator is a movement for women. The Feeling song is a movement for emotional and regulation and, growing more of an intimate connection with our kids and our inner child. And just, I see it in school curriculums. Like I'm very serious about each of these songs that I'm putting out being, part of a revolution so that we can all grow. And so I'm really trying to be intentional in where I put my energy when I'm not with my kids. And so, yeah, it's kind of just all of the above. But I'm writing just as inspiration comes. And, the other day, my daughter, she's having bad dreams. And so she asked me the other night, she was like, Mommy, why does our brain tell us bad stories? And the way that
Great question.
It's such a beautiful question because it's so innocent, but it's also like really cutting to the chase of like, because I ask myself all the time, I'm like, I can meditate, I can manifest, I can tell myself mantras, I can do. And then sometimes like this negative thought about myself will sneak in and I'll be like, what? Where did this cut? Like, why? But it's, and of course I have like a ton of experience. I have trauma, I have triggers, I have all these, but like she's 4, she just turned 5. Like, what does she have to, that could possibly, like interfere in this like beautiful innocent mind? But even her brain is like challenged with bad stories, right? So how why does that happen, and how can I equip her? So I said, come here, sit on my lap, let's write a song together. And so I just started singing. I was like, okay, what am I like? I'm gonna sing, or I'm gonna think happy thoughts, I'm gonna dream happy dreams, because I decide what lives inside of me, right? And then it goes, learning to dream is like riding a bike. We get better and better at it every time. And then I'm gonna sing happy songs, I'm gonna dream happy dreams, because I decide what lives inside of me. And I just, it's just like I want her to know that she can decide if she keeps that thought or if she sends it away, right? And so, we're learning to dream. She's just figuring it out. I'm just figuring it out. And so we're going to get better and better at it if we don't like beat ourselves up and pressure ourselves to be like, why are you thinking these bad things? Because, the only thing worse than having a negative thought is having a negative reaction to the thought and not giving ourselves the grace and the compassion that we deserve when we're experiencing it. Is just like, and then, feeling empowered to like, okay, I actually can send you away because I decide what lives inside of me. So like, that was this precious moment that now every night we sing that song. And other things that come up with these kids, right? That I'm like, okay, we need to write a song about that. Okay, let's write a song about that. And just even in anticipation of her going into 6th grade, because 6th grade was like the worst year for me ever. I had one friend and I used to eat lunch in the bathroom stall. So I wrote a song to my 6th grade self and I'm singing it to them in anticipation of kids being mean, so that they can identify it right away and know, like exactly what to do. Because I just didn't know. I didn't have those tools. And it's not that my parents didn't teach me self-esteem. I had an excellent self-esteem. It's just like home life does not always prepare you for how cruel kids can be. And so that, I think there's multiple songs I could write just about that. So yeah, just like living life with my kids brings on so much inspiration. And so I'm constantly writing and recording and then hoping to release.
Families, listen up, because I have something very exciting to tell you. The Fresh Start Family Freedom to Be Personal Development course is taking place on September 28th and October 5th, and registration is officially open for you to grab your ticket. This is the program that changed everything for me 10 years ago when I was new to positive parenting and loving what I learned in class. But when I came home to apply the strategies I was taught, I struggled. After going through this life-changing program, I all of a sudden was actually able to respond versus react, implement compassionate discipline instead of constantly reverting to harsh punishments, and actually stop blaming my strong-willed toddler for all of my problems. I'm not exaggerating when I say that freedom to be changed the entire future trajectory of my life, and I am completely honored and humbled to now be teaching this course. During this experiential program taking place on September 28th and October 5th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific, it's all online, so no matter where you are in the world, you can join us. But you will get both the heart and the soul, which is the spirit side, of ending limiting belief cycles and healing from past experiences and stories that are keeping you stuck in negative knee-jerk reaction cycles, whether that's in your parenting or your marriage or even your career. And you're going to get the step-by-step logistics, which is what I call the strategy side, of changing your unhealthy behaviors, your unproductive tones, your negative self-talk, and some of the broken communication cycles. We're going to help you turn those into healthy ones that you're proud of and that actually work to make you feel really good about the way you handle yourself each day, no matter how strong-willed your kids are or what kind of challenges get flung your way. So I want you to head on over to freshstartfamilyonline.com/freedom to learn more and save your seat. This program is a 2-day course and seats are selling out very quickly because seats are so limited for this program. So if it's easier to shoot me a DM on Instagram, just come find me. I'm at FreshStartWendy and send me the word transform, and I will personally send you a link to learn more in your DMs. Or if you're enjoying this episode on YouTube, you can just simply click below in the show description or in the pinned comment, and that'll take you to the information page. And don't forget, if you are a Fresh Start Experience member, you get a special discounted rate off your Freedom to Be ticket. So be sure to check your email and the private group for more info about that. All right. I cannot wait to see you at Freedom to Be. It's going to be so fun to gather with you for this 2-day workshop and experiential healing program. And let me know if you have any questions, but head on over, grab your ticket, and I'll see you there.
So for an artist like you, does that look like compiling everything, like of someone who writes a book to release a book? Or I know it used to be like you release an album. Is that a thing nowadays, or is that not a thing anymore? Like you release song by song? Do you would a record label consider? Because you're right. Like I am 100% on board that the world needs this. I'm going to sing it. It's going to be amazing, families. But when you hear Heidi sing it and when you watch this reel, you will be moved to tears. It is powerful. And if every family across the world had the courage and the confidence and just the lightheartedness to bring more music like this and more songwriting into their family and their parenthood journey and all the things we're going to talk about, why it's so amazing, but the world would be a different place, right? So it's how do you find someone to pick you up? Is that a thing, or is it just self-produced nowadays where you're you've created your own big community now to support you? How does it look for someone like you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's I'm trying to ask myself every day. I'm okay, right now I'm my own everything, Wendy. I'm my own manager, my own agent, my own this, my own hype girl, my mom and my husband. I have a support team here, but I I'm doing it all. And so I'm trying to navigate those questions too. The traditional ways, you sign a record deal, but record labels are, they're the ones who told me at 27 that it's too late. It's too late to be an artist. I'm this washed up old lady who has nothing to say. When in reality, 10 years later at 37, which is how old I am now, I have found my voice. I know I have something to say. And I had this hunch that there were a lot of other people who could relate to what, my message. And so, I'm completely independent and just, as far as putting together an album, I think the album would be more for me to just put put a collection of my work together, whether that's like an EP of lullabies and then like an album of empowerment anthems. I've considered that, or I've also considered them just being a part, like a collection together, because I can't have the empowerment anthems without the lullabies, because they're all me and they all came together. So like maybe it's just like an album together. I don't know. The album is more for me to have like my collection that I leave to my kids, right? Like my collection of work. But really it's all about like singles. And so like if I put out a single every 6 weeks, which like first week of February, my next single, Magic Room, comes out, and that one's kind of like my manifestation mantra. It's like if your spiritual bestie was to like tell you like how great you are.
Yes.
That is that song, and
it's so good. It's the one I've heard. You like have a little bit on Insta, right? Like,
yeah,
amazing.
Thank you. You want to write a book, start a podcast, go to law school. And these are all the kind of things that I want to do. Like I want to start a fashion line. I want to, I want to do all these things. And to say that out loud as a, woman in her late 30s, to say that out loud, it's like, it feels rebellious, because society has told us like, be a mom. And I get those comments on Madre Creator. I get those comments on these songs sometimes that are like, people being like, go back to the kitchen or do. There's a very old school mentality out there still. But there's also, women are also just, this is the time for us to just take the power and run with it. So,
so good. Yeah. Have you, I don't know if you have or not, but I just finished a book called Lessons in Chemistry. It's actually our book club this month. And then Apple did a series on it, and Brie Larson is the actress. And oh my gosh, I was like dying at the end. I can't tell you the end, but basically it's very similar to what you were just speaking about. Like if you want to be this, so she's like a woman chemist in the 50s, and like the adversity she faces, and does it with just such just awesome, empowered like vibes, and just the way she raises her daughter, and she loses blah blah blah. But it's just it would be a really good one for you to read, or at least watch the Apple series. And for everybody who is like, if you want to write a book or become a lawyer, or she speaks to someone in the later parts of the show where they want to become a doctor, and they're like, well, we can't do that. And she's like, yes, you can. Or no, it was a lawyer maybe. And she was like, no, here's how you do it. You go to school, you get a loan, you take the N stats or whatever the test is. Like in that moment, I was just like, emotion came over me, and she's just looking her straight in the eyes on this like television show. And the woman's just like, but I'm like 30 years old, and she's like, and? So yeah, it's really good. Highly recommend that book and that show to everyone listening. Lessons in Chemistry. Amazing. I love it. And I love the idea of like this songwriting, for everybody, right? So it's like, yes, please create that album, because the world, both of those albums, Heidi, and also just the act of like sharing this message with the world, I feel like is so powerful, just to teach families how to bring this into, because I would guess most people think that they're incapable of like writing songs or poetry and singing. Right. But like really, like you're in your house, and the image of you having your daughter sit on your lap and just be like, okay, we've got some emotions here. We've got some questions. Let's just write a song, and letting yourself feel empowered to do that. Like I can just sense how much empowerment that gives you as a mom, right? Like we're all humans are trying to feel powerful, and we either do it in healthy ways or unhealthy ways. And we scream at our kids, and we feel so much power because we put them in their place. That's like an unhealthy way to feel powerful. Then we sit with our daughter and co-write a song that helps her get to sleep and wake up in the morning with a different dream. That's like a healthy form of power that we're learning to. And so I can just see it being so good for parents, so good for the children. And then it's just all so good. So yeah.
Thank you. That's inspiring.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about this idea of harnessing the power of singing and music as parents. The first thing let's talk about is how music and singing can help us process emotions, especially for our boys. And so this song that you wrote for your son, essentially about emotional processing. And I guess I'll just sing it now. Okay, I can hear everyone. So
Yeah,
sing it, Wendy.
sing it.
And so everyone can actually hear this, because people are probably like, what are we talking about here? And I've never sung on a podcast. I do not sing, people. I sing at church. I love singing, but I do not sing. But I just kind of want to model what it looks like to, who cares? Like, why? I don't care. I don't care. And I think my voice is okay, but I just want to sing it. And I've listened to this many, many times, and I feel like it's such a sticky, beautiful song. Like, that's what's so trippy about music to me, is that it really sticks. Like, it's easy for some reason to remember. And with a lot of stuff, it's not, right? Like, I will teach families like a 4-step process to setting firm limits and following through with consistency, or disciplining with compassion. We teach something called the 4 R's. And it's like, can feel so hard to remember, but then you put it to like music, like we're an advertising and marketing family. Terry, my husband, is like in it too. And now my daughter wants to go to marketing, major in marketing in college, but we're always joking that if you put a jingle to it, like, you are going to remember that brand's message, right? So it's something that's so interesting about music to do that. So I'll just sing it. Okay, here we go. This is the Feeling song by Heidi Rojas. Okay. When you're sad or afraid, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So it doesn't sit all alone in your heart. When you're sad or afraid, let's hug about it. Let's hug about it, so it doesn't sit all alone in your heart. When you're sad or afraid, let's sing about it. Let's sing about it, so it doesn't sit all alone in your heart. When you're sad or afraid, let's breathe about it. Let's breathe about it, so it doesn't sit all alone in your heart. So it doesn't sit all alone in your heart. So it doesn't sit all alone in your heart.
Oh my goodness, that was beautiful.
I love it.
Thank you.
And you know what's cool, Heidi, is I'm learning more about nervous system regulation. I've been like really entrenched in that the last few years. I've been coaching parents and immersed in my own growth journey as a mom now for 13 years. But I'm just now like diving deep into like nervous system regulation stuff. And I've learned that singing is actually like one of the ways we can like calm our nervous system. Rocking, there's dancing, right? There's like hugging, or like there's all these things, but like singing or humming. And so I actually have been trying to sing a little bit more, even if I'm by myself, and just hum or something, especially if I'm like rushing between meetings or something. And it's just been really fun to like incorporate new things. And so what a wonderful opportunity to practice that right now. So thank you everyone for listening to my non-trained voice.
Oh my gosh.
But those are the lyrics of Heidi's song that you get to think, feel into as we're discussing this. So again, when you have an emotion, let's talk about it. Like, so it doesn't sit alone in your heart, whether it's, you're sad or afraid, whatever it may be. Like, let's sing, let's talk, let's hug, let's breathe. Essentially, the message is like, you're not alone. And this emotion deserves to be held and honored and put into the light, essentially, I feel like is the essence of this beautiful song. So with that said, let's talk about how the singing and music can help us process emotion, especially for all kids, but especially boys. Talk to us, riff on that for a minute, Heidi, please.
Yeah, I think it's so my son particularly, because I think so. I mean, I've touched on this in some of my videos about the song, is that society tells boys particularly that they need to be like this certain tough guy. And so somehow, their emotions are just shut down at a really young age, and they're just given like a bunch of really intense and aggressive toys. And you just kind of like almost like lose access to the sensitivity in their hearts and their, and so I wrote the song specifically for him because I could start to, he was 2, and I could see he had this like whole new face. Like he turned 2 and all of a sudden his face when he would get mad was just like you're biting down on something really hard, you know, just like, and his body would get like really tight. And so I knew he was experiencing like rage, like mad, you know, like anger. And this is my sweet, sensitive, like soft little boy for 2 years that I'm like, oh no, we're not going to let that fester in there. Right.
Yes. Not suppress it. Not like keep it stuck.
No, we're going to give him the tools to make sure to get that out. Right. And so I would get down to eye level. I would sit on the floor with him and be like, okay, tell me how you're like, explain to me what you're feeling. I can see that you're very upset. What are you feeling? And we would just like kind of talk it through and process it. And then there was this one time where he was in his crib and he was like super mad. And I just laid next to him and I started kind of singing the lyrics of what you just sang, just to try to like, you know, I think that, so melody, there's a reason why people meditate, right? And there's a reason why we go, because the vibration in our body, there's a, you know, like when you go to a sound bath, the reason why it's so, it just feels like it's like a massage for your insides is because the water in our body, which we're made up of like, I think it's like 80% at least water, is vibrating.
Yes.
From the sound. So you're like literally getting a massage because the water inside of you is vibrating. So anytime that you're like, the vibration is what is calming. It's, and so that's what singing is essentially, is just a melodic vibration. And so you put lyrics that are meaningful, or even like when I was in 5th grade, I used to, or all through junior high, I used to like make up songs to try to memorize the stuff I knew I was getting tested on the next day so that I could be like, I would be like, you know, like can't think of like algebra, some sort of an equation. And I would just like make up the rules, you know, to a melody and sing it in during the test. And so, you know, a melody has power, but then when you put lyrics and you sing it, you know, passionately, like the vibration can really just create this like healing impact that not a lot of things in our everyday life actually ever do. And so, yeah, that's where I was like, obviously music is my favorite form of expression. I feel most eloquent and most confident in sharing, you know, like talking through my songs, letting them speak. And so then, I incorporated that with his needs and then thought, you know, like maybe this is something that other people can experience, because the reality is that boys are told to be, you know, that be a man, you know, and it's like, actually, he doesn't know how to be a man. He's 9 years old. Like, he's a boy, and he's, you know, he has feelings just like a girl or anybody else. And so, you know, it's important to process them. There's a reason why 4 out of 5 deaths by suicide are men, because there is.
Dang, I didn't know that stat.
It is. It's really sad, because I think, you know, as a society, we are failing them in giving them a space to feel safe, to share how they feel, just what they're afraid of. So sad and afraid. We don't let them feel those things. And so then they grow up to be men who suppress and who don't tell, you know, that they're like combusting, about to explode inside. And then, you know, it comes out in different ways, whether it's harmful to themselves or harmful to others. And so it's like sad and afraid. Those were like the 2 main ones that I feel like for women, the opposite of that, it's like angry and aroused. I think those are the 2 feelings that we're not really allowed to express.
Yep.
That we're told, like, don't be aroused, don't be sexual, don't be like, be just like, clean and proper. And then don't get angry. Anger is not, you know, we're not
feminine.
Be feminine, be polite. Exactly. And be respectful. Right. So, and just be grateful. It's the America Ferrera speech in Barbie. Right. And so,
that brings me to tears.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I love that movie.
That was the movie could have ended, credits right there at the end of that one, that scene. But so, so yeah, creating space for a boy to work through and, co-regulating their feelings with them, I think is some of the most world-changing work that we can do. Men start wars, women start conversations. There's a reason why we have all the capacity to feel just the same way, every gender, but the way that we experience it and express it and process it is totally different because we've been given different tools. So now, and I get comments, Wendy, that I have to delete because they're like, you are handicapping your kid. This is how you make a soft, sensitive mama's boy. Like, so many people that are just like triggered by me holding space for my son to feel. And, but it's because it's been ingrained. There's different cultural expectations. There's different, and so not everyone's going to be able to jump on board to a new idea. Right. And so, but it's the fact that it's there. There's statistics. It's important. There's a need, and these young boys deserve, they deserve the resources and the mind, just like grown-ups who can walk them through those feelings. And that's the kind of grown-up I want to be for my kids and for others around me. And so it's been an honor to share the song and for it to fit. I get messages every day that this is our new family anthem. This is this is a part of our nightly routine. This is a part of, this, and like specific stories where the kid was, when a child was like super dysregulated and then they started playing the song and then they ended up in their arms crying. Like, yeah. And I'm just like, those, you link those experiences together and those are the waves that change the world. And I'm just so honored to be a part of it.
Oh my gosh, I just want to weep. Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, Heidi, have you seen yet the film, the documentary, The Mask You Live In, or The Mask We Live In? I think it's called The Mask You Live In. Have you seen it yet?
No, I'm not writing it. I'm going to write it down. I wrote lessons in chemistry down. I'm going to write this, The Mask You Live In.
Yeah, it's called The Mask You Live In. And it was wild. Like, I was so surprised. I'm blindsided. So we had seen that movie. I actually went to a speaking panel where I saw some of like the most insanely talented athletes, including Tony Hawk, which is obviously like a huge skateboarder. At a really cool school here where they showed the film and then had this incredible panel of men. But we interviewed I think she's the director. Her name's Caroline Feldman or Heldman. And she was amazing. We had such a great conversation. She's made some really cool documentaries, and Terry and I had such a good talk, right? And it's just all about basically what you just talked about, right? Like of the disservice that we've done to men. And that stat around suicide is nuts. Like, it makes so much sense now that you break it down like that. But we just had this most beautiful conversation around like healthy masculinity, right? How to teach our boys how to feel and the beauty that it brings to the world, all the things. And I released that podcast episode, emailed it out to 20,000 people on our email list. And all of a sudden, within like 10 minutes, I got those messages back of like, oh my gosh, this is evil. And I do have a ton of amazing families of faith, and many of them are finding their way out of like toxic, unhealthy, faith-filled circles that they have been like messages jammed down their throat that are like heartbreaking, right? And like so not in line with Jesus, but I help them feel safe to like navigate a new world and be who they want to be. And it was just wild though, the messages of like, you are, same type of thing, like, how dare you? This is like this agenda to like demasculate our boys. And I was just so taken aback because I honestly like did not realize that there was this world of like fear around teaching the boys emotions. It's gonna make them weak and permissive. And you're just like, wow. Same thing happened when we released a LGBTQ plus affirming episode. It was just like, holy smokes, the backlash of just people who are so uncomfortable with it. So I'm so thankful that you are spreading this message and helping parents do this for our boys. And quick story, I will say that it's like this is intent. Like, this is so thick in our culture that what an honor to be beside another mom. And I know so many families listening right now who really are like committed to doing things differently in their home, and really putting in the work, right? Like I always say, thank you for giving a damn, and like really showing up to raise the next generation of children and human souls, right? Especially boys in this situation. But like, it's thick. And so even like for a family like mine, so my little boy, he's now 13, he was born into this work, right? So Stella was 3 when we found the work. We did a full 180, switched from punishment to compassionate discipline, and changed the way we were communicating, saw her in a different light, like all the things. We had to do like a full 180. So she experienced like this kind of suppressive way of life for a few years, and then we switched. Taryn was like born into it. And he's always been my very tender-hearted, deep feeler. So is Stella, the deep feeler, and just like whatever. But essentially he was born into it, and we are like committed, right? This is what I do full time. I help families all over the world. Like this is the language we speak. And I have watched how much he has struggled with emotional, expression, or just the feeling, right? Because emotions don't always have to be expressed. They do need to always be felt. But like, I've just watched how much, what a journey it has been for him to learn that he is safe in those moments. And I can think to a situation where he was like 7 or 8, and he had gotten a note sent home from school. And he was like talking in class or something. And he's always been, he's not my strong-willed one, gotten so much trouble. Like Taryn didn't really get in trouble, right? So when he did, it was like, oh my gosh. And I remember him calling me up and shaking. His whole body was shaking. I think he was 7 or 8 at the time. And he pulled out this note from his backpack. And it just reminded me of your story, because I could see the tightness in his body, and he was quivering so hard he couldn't talk. And he handed me this wadded up piece of paper. And he was like, please don't tell Dad. Please don't tell Dad. And we are literally a family that like, Terry is like kinder than I am. Like he like naturally was born a positive parenter, and I like had to learn how to like control my anger and all these things. Like, don't tell Dad. Like, what? And so he's shaking, and he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I talked, and she said, you have to sign this, and we have to bring it back. And of course I was like, honey, you're not in trouble. You're safe here. Like, okay, no big deal. Like, let's talk about it. Like, what happened, And finally, like, he settled right after like a few minutes, but the suffering in this little boy's body. And what I've come to realize is that he feels very scared when you say this song, If You're Sad or Afraid. He has a lot of scared feeling around like embarrassment, right? So if like, I'm going to be embarrassed, or you're going to be disappointed in me, and it's interesting because daddy's thing is like, I don't want to disappoint people. And so Taryn and him share in that, whereas Stella and I share in some of like our limiting beliefs or blockages. But it's definitely the feeling of scared. Like, I'm scared you're going to judge me. I'm scared you're going to be mad. I'm scared people are going to make fun of me. If I go to a new sport and I'm not good, I feel scared, right? So it's been quite the journey to teach him that you're safe when you feel scared. And when you said, Heidi, that it will, I don't know your exact words, you said something like it'll manifest or it'll come out. Like, you cannot just suppress, right? Like, it does not work. And his has come out in like a little anxiety condition that, thank God, we were able to heal when it hops up fast. But it's like a condition where your body tells you have to go to the bathroom fast. Like, you have to pee, and you're going to like pee your pants. But really, there's not that happening. It's an anxiety condition. And so it's just been fascinating to watch someone whose mom and dad, like Terry has a full-time job as a creative director, but we are a full-time family that teach emotional literacy. And to watch my little boy still have to really go against the grain, go against culture, and feel safe in feeling these emotions. And every time that little anxiety condition pops up, and again, he was the one who had separation anxiety so bad for so many years. And when that little anxiety condition pops up, now it's to the point where we're able to like really help him through that and understand like what's the feelings. And he's so receptive. And then we found some really cool therapists that just help, and then it heals, right? And so we always hope that was like the last time that it popped up. It shows up on like car rides or at concerts and stuff. But But it's just so important and also so thick. So don't get discouraged, families, that, if you have a little boy or even a little girl too. I mean, gosh, for girls, culture teaches us to suppress too, or hide or not. Just know that you're doing a great job. Just hang in there. And it's not like an overnight thing. But I really do believe that if I would have had this modality to bring in all those years to help him be comfortable with fear, I really think it would have helped. Now, I don't think I can sing this to him. If I made a rap song, Heidi, he might be down. Like, he's full-blown. Or metal. My kids were super into heavy metal. Okay. But, like, maybe I will make a rap song about it. But, once you have teenagers, they're like, Mom, you are so embarrassing. Like, everything you do. But I feel like for the first decade of their life, you could really bring this in. Whether you're playing it on Spotify or you're singing it. Is your music like out on Spotify yet?
It is, yeah. So that song
Awesome.
is, the Feeling song is out in English and in Spanish on Spotify. I have Madre Creators out. I'll be releasing a drum circle version of that in March. And then I have Jefa, which is like a girl boss empowerment anthem. And then I have La Situación, which is like the self-acceptance bicultural anthem. They're all out there.
Awesome.
And then
I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the best presents I ever had the courage to ask for from my husband, Terry, was a few days away to take care of myself and heal from a bunch of stuff that I didn't even realize at the time was holding me back from creating the life of my dreams as a mom. Over 10 years ago, Terry gifted me with his full support, which meant watching two very wild and wonderful toddlers for the entire 2 days so I could attend the Freedom to Be immersive healing program. That one investment in myself and my own healing changed everything for the future of our marriage and family as Mama came back a changed and refreshed woman. I now have the honor of teaching the same program twice a year, and our online course is taking place very soon on September 28th and October 5th. So now is the best time to talk to your spouse. If this program is on your wish list and you want to gather with me and an incredible group of open-hearted, committed parents for 2 days of personal liberation through exercises designed to set you free and empower you to create the life you were destined to live. Goodbye self-doubt, resentment, blame, bitterness, confusion, permissiveness, reactive tendencies, and people-pleasing. And hello, confidence, forgiveness, self-compassion, patience, personal responsibility, and accountability, and deep peace. You deserve this, and your time is now. So let your spouse know that more than candles or sweaters or even a massage if you have a birthday coming up, or even as an early holiday present, yes, it is okay to ask for holiday presents early, you would actually just love their support to help you take care of yourself for a few days so you can actually join us for the Freedom to Be weekend, knowing that your kiddos will be cared for. You can also consider asking a neighbor or a friend if they want to do a swap, and maybe after they help you with your kids, you can then go help them with their kids so they can go take care of themselves or their marriage in a special way. So whether it's them or family, your spouse, partner, neighbors, friends, whoever it is that you ask to help you with your kids, remember that someone is just waiting to help you out. You just have to find the courage to ask. As a special gift to our loyal podcast fans, that's you, I want you to use the coupon code TRANSFORM during the month of September to get $50 off your Freedom to Be ticket. Just head to freshstartfamilyonline.com/freedom. And again, use the code TRANSFORM, and that'll take $50 off. Alternatively, if it is easier for you, you can just DM me the word transform on Instagram. I'm at Fresh Start Wendy, and I'll personally send you a link to learn more and save your seat for Freedom to Be. Okay, and as always, if you're enjoying this episode via YouTube, you can just click the link in the episode description, or you can click through the pinned comment to snag your ticket. All right, families. Well, I can't wait to see you at Freedom to Be. It's going to be an incredible 2 days together. Okay,
So we've talked about how music and singing can help us process emotions. Our second point that we wanted to talk about is how it can calm our nervous system. And you mentioned a little bit, you explained really well. I feel like we touched on this, but if you want to add anything else to like why it helps. I know I've seen a video of yours on like somatic dance, of like integrating the body into this expression or feeling of emotions. Like, what have you found with singing and music? And the explanation is just so perfect about the vibrations. Like for me, when it comes to learning about energy work and stuff, I have to get very confused because I'm like, I don't understand the vibration thing, right? But then when I see music, like shake my mirror, we were on our way home from surf last night, from picking up Taryn from surf team, and he had his rap music on all loud, and the mirrors were like shaking. And I was like trying to get him to look at the sunset. And I was like, look, the mirrors are shaking. Because he was like, Mom, I'm too old for sunsets. And I'm like, I know, but it's beautiful. I'm like, but look at the mirrors shaking. And I got him to look. But that makes sense to me. I can understand that the vibrations, right? And I'm learning that energy is the same. But what would you say about like the somatic side of this, of like settling our nervous system? And what have you learned, Heidi?
Yeah. So there's something about, so I'm a dancer. I was like raised in choreography, and I was a dance teacher in college. And so I love dancing and choreography and all of that. But there's something about somatic movement that's just literally free movement that is just allowing your body to respond to what it's listening to. That is just really freeing. So I'll do 30-second dance parties. I'll do somatic dance parties with the kids because it's just us like jumping up and down and just kind of being silly and like allowing our body to respond to what it's hearing. And I've done I did a somatic course where we got on with like 15 women over Zoom, and we listened to different music, and I was dancing and just moving my body to wherever it wanted to go, like feeling even sexy, jumping off of my bed and, like doing cartwheels and and I was crying because I'm just like, there's so much of, it's like sit up straight and dress and sit properly, cross your legs. Don't, there's so much that we're told and that we tell our body to do, that it's like giving your body a free rein to just do what it wants to do is just such a beautiful way of getting to know it and going, okay, that's where we're going. And just trusting and listening to your body as if it were like a living thing that supports you. I mean, every day that we tell it to get up, every day that we tell it to go bring me this water, here it is. Like it does so much for us. And so I think for me, somatic movement is our chance to let our body just kind of, like take over and do what it wants to do. And it's really fun because there's no choreography. There's no, you just play a song and you listen to, and you move to it by yourself. Like it could be really intimate and emotional because it brings up this stillness that allows us to just like really feel like set free. And I love it.
Oh, that is such a great explanation and such inspiration to really incorporate as much dance as we can into our days, right? Like I can just picture just integrating this even like in like moments of like really triggering moments as a parent, or moments of power struggles with your kids, or even tantrums, right? Like just knowing that music can really serve you, and dancing and moving your body. Yeah, I've only done one somatic, I think you would call it a somatic course. My friend Chrissy Powers, who is a marriage and family therapist, and she does a lot of like, she's a trauma-informed therapist, right? So she does a lot of like somatic work in addition to her like therapy visits and stuff. But anyways, we did this class where she would just play, same thing on Zoom, and she would just play, and I think she still does these classes. I can't recommend them enough, but she would just play this kind of like tribal music.
Mm-hmm.
And the only rule was you had to keep moving at least a finger, or like something had to keep moving. You weren't allowed to just stop. And we all kind of had our yoga mats, and you just kept going. And that was what unlocked. And no one's really saying anything. Like maybe she said like a tiny bit, but it was like a full, I feel like we were there for like an hour or something for many different classes together. And that was the class that unlocked this understanding of how much like shame I was holding. And so that happened to be like in that started like a 3-year period. And this was once I was advanced in my coaching business and teaching and all the things. And I had this like crazy discovery that I was like still holding on to so much shame, things I had never talked to my body about, like my C-section, like an emergency C-section to like birth my child alive. Like I realized I was like holding shame about how I didn't have a natural birth, or like my shoulder surgery,
Wow.
like all these things that I was like, wow, this information that I'm getting, I had never like talked to my body in that way. And it all came out of just some music and moving, which basically kind of like it was a little bit of dance and like silence, or not silence, but like no one telling me what to do. It was just me and my body, and it was just so profound. So that really set me off on this path. And now it's like, again, I think it's been 3 or 4 years where I'm really like, wow, I went from, when it comes to like shame reduction or eliminating shame from my life, like I went from like level 0 to like now I'm like almost at a 10, where it's like almost freaking kicked to the curb. And it was all because of this like music dance thing. And of course, all the other things that I've done over the past few years. But that was the start of it. So
yeah, that's amazing.
That's my story about somatic dance.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It is. It's beautiful, and it's brave, and it's, it's something that is so like, there's a lot of things in healing modalities that you have to like pay for and do and go places and talk to people. And like, this is like the one thing that you can literally just like put music, close the door. And the tribal music's my favorite. Like I love just beats and just no words even, like, or just your favorite song, just like letting go is really, really amazing.
Oh, Heidi, you are such a blessing and such a light. Thank you for being here. What an awesome conversation. I know everyone listening right now is just so inspired and motivated to really, incorporate music and dance and singing and your songs into their daily parenting walk, into their homes. Tell listeners where they can find you, where they can listen to your music, all the good stuff, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can listen to me. I'm Heidi Rojas, Heidi Rojas, ROJAS. And Heidi Rojas Music on all social platforms. And yeah, I'm just, I love reggaeton. And so, but there's not a lot of reggaeton songs that you can play with your kids around, because it's a lot of, lyrically, we, as Latinos, like they're edgy. So I have a song coming out in a few months that's like, reggaeton you can listen to with your family with a positive anti-bullying message, but it's all in Spanish. And but a lot of people who don't speak Spanish tell me that they can understand the energy behind it already. And so I'm going to have a lot of really great just beats, songs that we can all dance to together and not have to worry like you got to turn anything down because there's a cuss word. Think of it as like a family version of, as hopefully one of your favorite artists, and we can, just empower each other through music. So thank you so much for having me and for all the work that you do for families and parents, and helping us figure out how to be, the best life coaches for our little favorite people.
Absolutely. And Spotify, right? They can come find you on Spotify if they want to listen to your music.
Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, everywhere. Anywhere that music is streamed or sold, I am there.
Just search up Heidi Rojas and the Feeling song. If you want to listen to this one, we'll put it in the show notes too. Again, thanks for being here, Heidi, and for all the incredible work you are doing in the world.
All right, families, I hope you enjoyed this episode. As we wrap our time together, don't forget to head on over to freshstartfamilyonline.com/freedom to learn more about the Freedom to Be course happening online September 28th and October 5th. Alternatively, you can also find me on Instagram. I'm at FreshStartWendy, and just shoot me a DM with the word transform, and I will personally message you back with a link to check out what Freedom to Be is all about, as well as give you more info about the incredible payment plan we have available to make this experiential learning program accessible for all. Now, seats are extremely limited due to the advanced healing nature of this course. So if you are interested in pouring into yourself, yes, you deserve it, healing from your past, breaking free from limiting beliefs, and taking charge in the most empowered way to create the family and parenting experience, life and family legacy of your dreams, then head on over to freshstartfamilyonline.com/freedom to learn more. And as always, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, it's very easy to just click through the show description or the pinned comment down below. So that's an easy way to find all the information about Freedom to Be also. Thank you for being a loyal part of our Fresh Start Family Show community. We see you, we honor you, we are over here cheering you on. Hooray! You made it to the end of a Fresh Start Family Show episode. Thank you so much for being here. If you have a quick second, make sure you hit subscribe to our show so you can be updated when our new episodes drop. I will see you back soon for the next episode.